Hello, welcome back to the Live Rally Game Podcast. My name is Steven, and I'm back for more Surviving Reelfoot coverage of its most recent season, Fowler's Point. And today, joining me is the 7th place player of the season, Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. How does it feel being the Reelfoot fan favorite?
Well, I mean, I got second place, but we know who the real fan favorite is. So,
your place in the season is near and dear to my heart because I also was blindsided 7th place in my season. So it's a hard way to go, but it's the best placement.
it is. I mean, you could have done so many different things a different way, but you kind of wanted to keep them the same. So, yeah, I didn't want to go out 7th, that's for sure.
What was going through your head as you're saying that tribal council and you see your name coming up?
I just kind of knew at that point. Once I seen it twice, I was just like, "Yeah, I'm out of here." Like, it was just.
Did you know that it was Angela and Lauren who flipped, or was that something that you figured out later?
No, I kind of had a suspicion it was Lauren. That's why I gave her the medallion to start.
Mm-hmm.
Once I got voted out, I was like, "Who really screwed me over the worst?" And it was Lauren. And I told her once we got to jury that I was gunning for her the next vote.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Oh, well, I just got you first." So,
so all's fair. She just beat you to the punch.
Yeah, she did.
Well, before we get more into your season, I'd love to kind of step back and talk about your journey into Reelfoot. How did you learn about Reelfoot?
So my cousin Adam, he played in season 8,
mm-hmm.
and he ended up getting 9th. I watched his whole season, and then I started watching the previous seasons before his, and kind of got hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Watched season 9, and I applied for season 9. I applied a day late. My cousin just found out that he had cancer, so he wanted me to go out and play for him, so I applied then. Got in a day late, and then applied. Pete said I was like one of the first people to apply, so I want to make sure I didn't miss it.
Mm-hmm. Are you also an avid Survivor fan?
Yeah, I mean, I do watch some Survivor, like some
mm-hmm. seasons.
I'm not like the average watcher where I watch every season,
mm-hmm.
Spring and fall. I don't do
mm-hmm.
that, but I just got a whole bunch of stuff going on outside of that. So, I mean, I do have like certain seasons. Like last season, I did watch last season just to like try to. I know the newer seasons are different than the older seasons, but just try to get in that mindset.
Did your cousin give you any advice coming into the Reelfoot?
He said who you sleep with is who you're with, so I kind of took that.
Well, and that ended up being really important, given I'll hear from you as well that initial sleeping arrangement was so critical to your tribe.
Oh, definitely. Night 1, that's what solidified it.
Mm-hmm. And so, what did you do to prepare for coming out to play Reelfoot?
So my roommate, he made a fake idol, where is it? There it is. Just something like this that he stuck around like in the woods. We live on a pretty wooded area, so I just told him, I was like, set it within this diameter and let me go find it. And I think I found the first one in like 5 minutes. It was like stuffed in like a log, like just like a hollowed out log, and then he hit it a couple other times. I think I was like 2 for 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that kind of prep. That wasn't like my main strategy going in, but I mean, it'd be cool to find an idol, and if I did find one and somebody was helping me look, then better my odds a little bit.
You're also an Eagle Scout, correct?
Yep.
So you're pretty comfortable with being outdoors and knowing how to make fire and everything like that.
Yeah, so I've been like camping like once a month since I was like 10. So just like, I mean, I went from Cub Scouts like all the way up to Tiger Cub, all the way to Eagle Scout, triple bronze palm. So that's like earning extra merit badges after you already got your Eagle Scout. So like I did like pioneering merit badge where you do lashings. That came in handy with like the boat challenge, building our shelter. Have wilderness survival merit badge, first aid, Just all the basics that you would think you would need going out and living in the woods, pretty much.
Because I think you're the only person I've talked to that has had significant camping experience and knew what they were doing going out. I think everyone else was like, "Oh, we'll figure it out somehow, right?"
Oh, some of the stuff I heard out there, I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like,
Well, what was the worst or the funniest thing you heard?
I don't know. I know that there was one instance that brought up to mind. I was working on the shelter and I need someone to hold a pole, right? And James, bless his heart, he comes up eager to help me, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. We start talking a little bit, and he's grabbing the completely wrong pole that I'm tying. Like, I just let him be. I mean, he was doing something. Just let him be. Like, I ain't going to try to ruffle him. Like, oh, hey, here you go. Like, try to take charge, right? Like, this is how you need to do it. So I wasn't trying to step into the leadership role, like, right away either. But I kind of got forced into that.
So what was your strategy coming to the game like?
I know I didn't want like an all guy alliance. I get along with girls like just like on like personal basis. Like I tend to get along with them, easier to talk to. But I also want to like guys that were physically strong, good strategic players as well, and like so I can like keep myself in kind of like in the shadows, use them as like a shield.
Well, showing up to the game, do you mind me asking who was in the sequester room with you?
Keenan and James.
Okay. Do you feel like that? Because what's been interesting is hearing how those initial impressions from the sequester room kind of did have an impact in the game. What was it like being in the room with both of those guys before the game began?
Let's just say it sounds like we were the only room that didn't talk to one another. Let's just put it that way. Like we just sat in our corners. We kind of like looked at each other. Keenan kind of went, but I don't know, kind of just looked like he was getting comfortable. And I was just, I'm pretty to myself. Like I could be outgoing when I want to be, but I could be an introvert too. So like, I don't know. I was just kind of feeling everyone out. Like I kind of knew I wanted to work with James because I'm like, this guy's smart. Like, and he just seems like the type of guy that would be good at puzzles and memorization. So
once the game starts, it's going to be a schoolyard pick. Do you remember who picked you and who you then pick?
I actually drew the rock.
Okay, so you got the start off of the Yellow Tribe.
Yeah, so I was actually, everyone drew a rock before I did.
I
was the last person to draw a rock, and there was two in there. And I felt, and I just picked one. And then I kind of felt like on my nail, I was like, oh, this thing's painted. I'm like, I did not want this. And I almost like looked over to Storm like, you want to trade real quick? But because he was standing right next to me, but I was just like, all right, let it be. I knew it was painted, so I was just like, all right. And to me, that was like I said, I didn't want to just stand out right away. Like, oh, hey, you drew the rock. I didn't want to like just stand out right away. I kind of just wanted to be picked with the rest of them. But yeah, fate had it. So,
who'd you end up selecting?
I picked Megs. I picked Megs.
Why Megs?
Stood out. Maybe it was her blue socks. I mean, you didn't know anyone's name. And she just sat over there with a smile. So I was just like, all right. She seems like a friendly person. I think I could work with her.
Unfortunately, that would not be the case.
Yeah, that's definitely not the case.
So after your tribe comes together, James joins your tribe. So you already have a numbers advantage, right. And you're immediately told vote for a player. What or why we're not going to tell you. Just vote for a player. And do you remember who you voted for? I
voted for KC.
Why?
His was the easiest name to spell.
So, and Casey ends up being the person in your tribe who gets the majority of votes, I think, after the revote.
Yep.
And he has to then select a person to give this penalty medallion to. The person wearing it gets a vote at their next tribal council. And he ends up giving that to Keenan. And this ends up leading to one of the actually critical moments of your tribe. Yeah. Casey then brings your tribe together and explains why he's doing what he's doing.
So, first thought that goes through my head when Casey is saying, we give you this medallion. Keenan, I'm giving you this medallion, but I want to use that as an immunity idol as well,
Mhm.
and keep you safe. And what's running through my mind, complete bullshit. Like, I'm just like, all right, man. Like, I don't know if he's just trying to butter him up or something, and it just kind of seemed too authoritative right off the bat. Like, and if he thought about something that quick, like, what is he going to think out there that quick right off the top of his hat like that? So I kind of threw out some red flags.
Mm-hmm. Well, because interesting, because Casey, I feel like you and him were a bit kind of rivals through the season. Do you think that's an accurate description?
Yeah, that probably hits the nail on the head.
And was that something that really kind of developed by day 2 or day 3, or at what point do you think that really kind of like, we are against each other?
Probably day 1 when he
Really?
threw me and Lauren's name out. Yeah, like that didn't sit well with me or her. So, it's just, I mean, it could have been day 2 when he threw my name out. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was day 1. I know, like right when he got back to camp, he was trying to like set up the shelter. I mean, it's all good. Everyone's just trying to help out, and like me being like knowing what I know out in the woods, like we had our camp down where Carlton had it last year, and so I was just like, guys, if it rains, all the water is coming straight to us, so we need to move it up the hill. And there's like that perfect like little like set of trees. We clear that out. Everyone helped clear that out. Built that shelter, and then I think Casey and Keenan helped start it on the fire. So I mean, he was pretty much out of my hair, but like, and he didn't talk no game to me, like not even like on a personal level, like right off the bat. So I just kind of like, I didn't know what he was trying to do, but he wasn't talking to me, that's for sure, or anyone else. It seems like.
Talk me through your initial impressions of the rest of your tribe.
Yeah, so as soon as I was standing next to Storm, we were kind of giving each other a side eye, like, all right, if we're on a tribe together, like, let's get it going. And then found out we were both from Ohio, so Ohio brothers, created that bromance right there. And then he's just overall, like, he's just a big old teddy bear. He'd do anything for anyone. And then Lauren, she just seemed athletic, like, and smart. Like, she came out going smart, like going hard. She came up to me day 1 and was like, "Hey, me and you, we're gonna be a thing, but we're gonna keep it low, so like no one thinks we're talking to each other." So I was just like, kept that in my head for later on down the game. If she don't want anyone to know that we're talking to each other, she could just, like, I ain't got no connection with Ryan. But that didn't happen. Everyone knew. And let's see here, Angela. The more I talked to Angela, I mean, she seemed quiet at first, but that woman is just like me. Like, she will speak her mind when needed. I love her to death. Like, just she had a great personality that I could really connect with. Dina, she was loud, and I wanted her to use that as my shield. Like, we had a 1-2 day 1. I knew that she would attract a lot of people, maybe ruffle some feathers within the tribe. So I just kind of want to keep her. If it's her better than me. So that's how I looked at it. That, but like, I was trying to actually work with her and bring her for the long haul. Megs, like I said, we just I picked her. I tried to take her on a couple walks, and just nothing happened. Like, hey, like, I picked you for a reason. Like, I wanna kind of work with you, get you in. And she's like, okay. I'm like, all right. Well, that's that. So, Keenan, I knew he was gonna be sort of like Dina, just kind of like personality wise out there. Like, just Storm was trying to keep Keenan egged on the whole entire time. He's like, let's keep Keenan talking. Let's keep Keenan talking. So, but he was a friendly guy. And James, he just came out. He said, I stutter. Don't finish my sentences. Let me talk. and I totally respected that. And he's just a stand-up guy alone, so you can't really say one thing about the guy. So, am I forgetting anyone?
No, I think you went through your entire tribe. Was there anything significant that happened that first evening as you're getting the tribe set up?
So like me and Dina, we were kind of like walking, and then once we broke, I was kind of like looking around for little idols, and then I found a clue from actually last season, and it was still all like, it was weather teared and all that, and you can only read like half of it. But I kept that just in case if I like needed to play, like, oh yeah, I got something, like I found something. I showed Dina. I don't think she thought anything of it, but she actually like knew that I was really actually like searching, and that was like me and her kind of like mission.
Now, that end of day one, the sleeping positions, like you mentioned, they kind of matter. Because what happens is Casey and Meg sleep in your shelter, and everyone else kind of ends up sleeping around the fire, right?
Yep. So I suggested, I was like, guys, it's warm. I was like, we can stoke up this fire all night and just sleep around it. And they're like, all right. Well, those two just decided to go right back into the shelter. We're like, all right, whatever. Excuse me. My luxury item was a yoga mat. So I was like, hey, I'll just lay this long ways. We could fit 4 people on here. And so it was me, Dina, Angela, and Lauren. And Keenan was like kind of on the end. And then we were all just kind of talking like around at night. We pretty much already had the fire and ice thing solidified, but then James and Keenan were around the fire that night, and that was the fire crew. So we all just talked, solidified that, and then started going into day 2.
And so, at what point on day 2 does Fire Ice like formally come together? I remember there was a video of the 5 of you. Yeah. Saying like, yes, this is us. Like, we're Fire and Ice. Like, what point does that really happen?
I think it's early day 2. Maybe after like the first challenge. We just kind of, Dina wasn't around. It was me, Lauren, Angela, and Storm. Yeah, and we just kind of made it happen. I mean, we all like legit meshed so well. Like, like we could come up and be like, "What are you thinking?" And we'd be like, "Oh, well, I was thinking that too." Like, and it'd be no joke. It wouldn't be bullshit or anything. So, I mean, we just clicked. Like we could read each other's minds almost, except for when I got voted out, I couldn't read shit because I was just tired. But yeah.
So I think one of the other critical things that happens to your alliance in day 2 is you end up finding the hidden immunity idol.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it was before our first challenge or not, but people were doing confessionals, and it was Keenan and Angela. Angela was like talking to Keenan down the road a little bit, and then like they were looking, and then me and Dina were searching really hard, and I was looking underneath this. So they had a whole bunch of like pushed over trees, and I looked up underneath the root, and I seen the burlap bag, and it blended in so well with the dirt. Like, it's surprised, like if somebody did come across it, that they could miss it very easy because it just blended in so well. Dina and Storm thought I found it way earlier and came back and acted like I found it. I just found it right in front of them, and I couldn't really do anything to hide it because I know DeLucas was giving me shit on this, saying that, oh, I wouldn't have told no one. But here's my thing. Like, if I say I want to use it for somebody, which I did, like, that's going to show my loyalty. And we had a good 7 already in our tribe, like, and Keenan and James didn't know about it. So it was just seriously our 5. I mean, yeah, they could have voted me out real quick, but I mean, we literally were tight. So, and I have really good sense with like when something goes fishy, or when something's going fishy. So, yeah. So I don't know, just.
So let's say no one had been around you when you did find it. Like Dina was in there and Storm was
Oh, I
in
would have
there.
kept it to myself. I wouldn't.
Okay, so it was just because everyone was there, and you're like, well, I guess
like
I
literally,
have
I was
it.
on my knee. I was on my knee, and my pants were like pretty tight from like as I was hunkered down. And I looked up, and Dina saw me look up. She like, "You find it?" And I couldn't get the damn idol in my pocket. So I'm like, and I had to stand up. And she was like, I was like, yeah. And then Storm kind of saw me stand up too. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Well, I got to tell them. They're at least they're part of my alliance. So we walked up. All three of us walked up the trail a little bit and read the note and came back and decided to tell Lauren and Angela.
Now, was it?
Because I didn't want to seem like I was keeping them on the outs if like one of those two was like, hey, Ryan has an idol and didn't tell you.
Yeah. I mean, Angela's saying that you sharing the idol with her and like really, I think did a great job solidifying this as the alliance.
Awesome.
Were you tempted at all to tell Keenan and James?
No, because I actually saw Angela and James talk more. I've seen Angela and James talk to each other more than they would talk to any other two, especially like Angela outside talking to people outside our alliance. So I wasn't going to tell any of those, and I didn't. And Keenan's kind of like, I didn't have a good read on Keenan because he was everywhere. So I didn't want him to like spill the beans. But actually, James ended up spilling the beans later. So, but we'll get to that.
So I mean, looking across your tribe, if you had to rank players from most to least important to your game, could you do that?
What was that?
Could you rank the players from most to least important to your game?
Yeah, Storm, Lauren, Angela, Dina, Casey, Megs. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry.
I was like, man,
Lauren, Angela, Dina, James, Keenan, Megs, and Casey.
Okay, I was like, this makes more sense.
I wrote that down actually, so I still messed up.
So, looking at your tribe as a whole, did you feel confident your tribe would do well in the challenges?
I thought we had a good mixture to where we wouldn't struggle. After what I think we had more tiles than the other tribe during the matching. So I was like, all right. I mean, that's good. We won the memory. I didn't hit a single tile on that one. So, and then
so over the course of the day 2, you have 3 different reward challenges, right? You do the SOS challenge, you do the slip and slide challenge, and you have the floor is lava challenge. How are those for you?
Slip and slide challenge was a disaster for me. I went up against Bash. So we go down the slide. I see that there's still water in my kayak, so I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm not going to empty it. So I just get in, start going. I'm making good headway. Me and Bash are sort of neck and neck. And I try to use my paddle to hook the ring, and that way I could just turn around and go real quick. But I actually took one stroke too many, and it kind of like lurched me forward, and I went to go reach out for the platform to like try to draw me back in, and I just dunked myself. And by the time I could empty out my kayak, because that thing was sunken, Bash was already up the hill and hit it on his first shot. So I mean, it was whatever. As James would say, we didn't come there for comfort and pancakes and all that and rewards. So,
well, I find it amusing that, like, you know, as the Unoga tribe is winning these challenges, they're getting all these idol clues, right? And you, on the other hand, have already found the idol even without a clue that KC has.
Yeah, didn't he find that like the very first?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think he told me at jury that he was looking like down the camp where we were about to set it up. But it was actually like our camp was actually like right behind it. It was probably like 300 feet off from our camp. So, but yeah, I mean, to find it without one, that's cool.
I mean, that's a fun achievement to get. Especially when you said, you know, if you weren't looking for it, it just blended in exactly with just the dirt.
Yeah, and honestly, I do think like me practicing that, like just trying to have an eye out for that color in the woods, like I think that helped a little bit too.
So for future Reelfoot players,
yeah, practice.
Get a friend, hide some fake idols, and practice that way.
Yeah, get an eye for it. If that's part of your gameplay. I mean, like I said, it wasn't like that wasn't my. Oh, that's the thing I got to do as soon as I get in there. But it was cool that I found it.
So, how concerned were you after having all three of those reward challenges, losing at that, then heading to your first immunity challenge? Were you like, I think we're in trouble?
I didn't think we were in trouble. I mean, they're just reward challenges. I mean, the ones that count are the immunity challenges. And we had a good vibe around camp. Everyone was lifting each other up. I mean, no one was like, "Come on, guys, we got this." Like, and James was actually the one pumping people up. So, like, he may seem shy, but he was like, "Come on, guys, we didn't come here for blankets and pillows and chairs. Like, we got those at home. Like, we're here to play Survivor." So I think that kind of gave everyone a little bit of energy. We also ate beans. I didn't have no beans. Me and Angela, they were going to throw them on a fire before we got called to another challenge, and they ate them cold. I was like, I'm not eating no cold beans. I don't even like beans to begin with. I don't even like rice, like outside. So I'm just like stuffing it down, and like the half cooked rice, I'm just like, oh man, I'm just chugging as much water as I can.
Food is food.
Oh yeah. And then during the second second reward challenge with the duck, I ended up finding that skull. It wasn't a squirrel skull because I know what a squirrel has. They got the long teeth on the front, so I think it was more like a rodent. But that actual fake idol I made actually looked exactly identical to the immunity necklace later on.
So when was because you put together that fake idol really quickly, I think.
Yeah, so I found it when we were looking for leads for our second reward challenge. We were all out of rope because I done used every piece of that except for on people's water bottles. So when we got back and we were going to eat before that challenge, I was like, hey, does anyone have a piece of rope? I need to do something. I think it was Angela gave me a rope from her water bottle and like cover, and I just used that as the necklace.
Well, when you made that fake idol, like were you just like, you never know, maybe I'll put this to use, or you're like, no, I'm like, were you gonna like hide it? Were you gonna make sure you gave it to someone? Like, did you have a plan for it at that point?
I didn't really have no plan for it at that point. I knew I wanted to like use it during the season. It was, I mean, I thought it looked legit, but I mean, I don't know. Like I want to talk about that a little bit later once we get around like when it gets played and all that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, because the idol has a story of the season.
Oh, it does. It does.
So at your first immunity challenge, this is the challenge where you go through the obstacle course. Angela, if your team is going to put together a ladder puzzle, you'll go back through, then your tribe will solve final puzzle. And you have a comeback from behind this challenge.
Oh yeah, this is the best challenge of the season right here. We get all the way through. Angela's having a hard time with the puzzle, but we just keep encouraging her, like, come on, you got this. Don't just think everything through. Look everything. Make sure you got it right. She just needed to flip the board over and then place it. So we all like bust ass all the way back. James was actually struggling on the way across when we were picking up the boards on the way over. I was standing on the box making sure everyone got over safely, and James just like, get out of the way. I'm like, all right, sorry, man. And he just busts ass over there, and then we get started on the puzzle, and like, I don't even know how many seconds, but I mean, we got that baby put together quick. Angela popped down like a hexagon. Someone else popped down like this one piece that kind of looked like a 7, and I knew that was the wrong spot, and it just clicked in my mind, and I just moved something up. I asked somebody, I was like, where's the small piece? As I was putting in another piece, someone threw it there, and I just slid it in, and I was like, and won it, and yeah.
It was just kind of amazing.
That adrenaline was great.
I remember just watching this like wait, already? It was so fast.
Yeah, that That was great. I mean, we probably over celebrated, but I mean, yeah.
Parker's saying you shouting "Duck yeah" after with this challenge is one of his favorite moments this season.
Yeah, Keenan yelled Kawano and I just yelled "Duck yeah." It's something that we were just saying back at camp. So I don't know. I just yelled it. I didn't even care who heard it. I mean, if someone took offense to it on the other tribe, whatever, it'd be what it be.
Now, your tribe isn't going to the first tribal council, but what strategies have emerged over the course of the day regarding the potential first boot from your tribe?
So I think we're all pretty much one-sided since Megs and KC, they kind of like outed themselves. They weren't really talking to anyone. They're just kind of on an island over there. I don't know why they wouldn't talk to anyone. It just didn't make any sense to anyone. They just, like KC probably came up and tried to talk game like right towards the end of when Megs was getting voted out, but they just didn't really, I don't know, it just seemed like they just, I don't even know what's going through their mind, honestly.
Were you trying to have strategic talks with Keenan or James? You mentioned that you were really close within your Fire and Ice alliance, right? But like, were you trying to have any side relationships with them just in case?
James, on a personal level, yeah. I think that we could have worked together like as like a six. I really liked him being part of that. I mean, he could be a swing vote like once we got to the jury. I mean, he did end up on blue. I mean, you don't know what kind of connections he made over there, but he and then Keenan, I did talk some game to Keenan. Keenan at first was very held back with what he said to me. But as each day grew, he kept warming up to me. I kept emphasizing, like, hey, fire buddy, like, what's up? And we were just workhorses around camp. Like, he was the one going out there getting wood as well as Storm, and we just so it was always good to keep Keenan in your back pocket. But like we would talk about like certain vote outs. It was mostly like Megs and KC. He didn't really like KC, and he felt really betrayed by getting that medallion right at the beginning as well. So, so that kind of kept the target off my back.
So day 3 comes. Drew is the first person voted out of Anoga, and you have your next mini challenge, which will eventually become a reward challenge. But this is where you have to go through the haystack to find the balls. Then you have to do a kind of a vertical ball maze. How was this challenge for you?
I did the ball maze. So, and at the ball maze, I didn't want to. I actually would have ran. But when I got picked for the ball maze, Casey was like, "Hey, you're going last. You're going last." And I kept feeling like I'm in these positions where I'm last, like I'm the anchor. And if I don't come through, then I'm gone.
Yeah.
So I'm trying my hardest, like, not to go last in this ball challenge, and it's 2-2 at this point, and it took the runners forever to find the balls, and then it's 2-2. We're getting ready to go up, and they're like neck and neck, and I just yank on it, and I get it all the way up, and I think mine was the left hole, and got it in there, and then we won it, and then we found out that we had to count that as a reward challenge. So that kind of sucked. I was pretty sure I was the one that said pizza, because I knew they had it in there. So I was just like, "How about pizza, guys?" But and then we got popsicles as well. We got 3 dry fire logs. Once we got those delivered back to camp, that was nice. And then they also filled up our water too, and we didn't have to carry that back. That helped. But once we got those logs back, I told everyone, like, we're going to save 1 log for each day at night, because those puppies are going to burn the hottest and the longest. And that's what we did. So I think that last log didn't get burnt until like merge.
Then you have your next actual immunity challenge. And this is the idle hands. We have to kind of swat. Everyone's like holding a little platform with a little idle. You're trying to swat it off. How did this go for you?
I like that challenge. First person I had to go up against, it was Megan. It was raining buckets. Like, I just kind of like went around, and she didn't feel like real comfortable holding it, so I just kind of like tapped it. It went down, won that one, and then I think it came down to win it. Once again, they put me in there because we had to pick other people to go in, the same people to go in. So they chose me to go against Sharif, and he just gargles me and just, and he's like, "Sorry, man, sorry," but nah, he was a good sport about it. I knew I didn't stand a chance when I went up against Sharif, but I was trying. But yeah, we ended up winning that one, and that felt good. I also took off my shirt during that one because I was like, man, I'm not gonna wear my poncho during this. I was like, I feel like I have more like flexibility, so I tucked that in, and I just wanted to keep my shirt dry, so I tucked that down in my bag. And I think that's when the other tribe was saying like, oh, he's messing through his bag or something, but I was just putting my poncho in my shirt again. They're already paranoid.
And then you have your final challenge. Then this is where you have to maneuver the balls, the chicken coop, down the PVC pipes, and do a heavy ball maze at the very end. And unfortunately, this breaks your winning streak.
Yeah, that broke our winning streak. I kind of felt responsible for it because they did awesome on the chicken wire. I didn't want to do that because I already had blisters from like doing everything else around camp. I did not want to put my fingers through that chicken wire, so I did the PVC. I was at the end. I don't know why we picked the shortest person on our tribe to do the tallest part. Poor Lauren was standing on her tippy toes, and then you also have Dina, who's short, trying to feed it through the chicken wire, and they're going first, and they're struggling. And then we keep tossing this ball down, and I can't get it in the bucket. Well, I finally figured it out after a couple times. They got to keep it level, and then kind of like just guided in there. Well, I found that out a little too late, so. But yeah, we ended up losing that one. I mean, it probably would. I mean, it's not a bad one to lose. I think everyone knew who was going home at that point, and it didn't. We kept that hidden pretty well.
Yeah. So talk about this. The strategy's kind of set, but what was going on between this challenge and tribal council regarding dealing with Casey and Mix?
Honestly, I think they felt fine. I mean, Casey felt fine because he had the immunity necklace, but I think Megs had like absolutely no clue. I think she was just she was blindsided as well, I believe. I think she was hunky dory. She might have got her feelings hurt by Angela, but I mean, it's a game. I know they previously knew everyone.
Storm asked you if you remember when you had to try to convince Storm to vote Lauren out. What was going on with that?
To vote Lauren out.
Yeah, maybe like you had to do that in front of KC, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I think he was trying to convince me just to vote Lauren out because we both seen that she was playing a little hard. We knew that she was with Angela. She had ties with pretty much everyone, like, and just to see that. But I mean, Casey threw out her name. But honestly, I just wanted to keep the 5. Like, I like that 5. It served no purpose in my game to vote out Lauren. If I can have somebody on my side that has ties with everyone, that's less work that I got to do, and she can just relay the information to me. But then again, like, I had certain ties that she didn't, like, say maybe with Keenan or certain other down the road.
Do you think it would have been worth telling Casey the plan to vote out Megs, given that after this tribal council, Casey is going to basically say, I'm yellow no more, I'm going to be blue forever?
I wanted him to be blue forever. Honestly, like, I wasn't even wanting to pick Casey when we were drawing rocks. I was actually, I thought I had all the picks. I didn't know it was going down the line, and I was just like, the big dude. And I was actually going to pick Storm, and then they told me that she had to pick, and she goes ahead and like, well, who do you want? And I was like, well, obviously Storm. And he's like, well, I'll think about the guy in the yellow. I was like, well, it's your pick. I can't tell you who to pick. So I guess I kind of like agreed. KC, but yeah, I didn't want to be on KC's tribe to begin with, just
Why?
because his physical attributes, you could just tell he was a comp beast.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that would have helped us down the long run, but I don't know. I could feel like people. It's like weird energy. Like I could feel people like energy, and like he just didn't have it for me, anyways. Like
so,
Storm, I could tell I could click with him right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. So Tribal Council is a huge success. Megs is blindsided, and KC also in a 7-2 votes. And were you surprised when Megs gave the amulet to Angela?
No, because Angela already told us that she knew Megs from an org that she was in. And by the way, I have no idea even what org. I was completely clueless about any of that, so I blew my mind that was even a thing. But yeah, apparently Megs did her dirty somehow in the org, and things didn't go as well. And they found out that they were there with each other, so it wasn't a surprise. She kind of like warned us or told us like kind of like afterwards, like more into like the story or whatever. I don't like drama. I don't get into that stuff. So.
Was there any fallout from this Tribal Council?
What was that?
Was there any fallout? Like, did you talk to KC after this Tribal Council?
No.
Oh, because what ends up happening is Angela gets taken away to a summit with Josh, where they essentially get to create a tribe swap, and you ends up being a very nice tribe swap. Ends up being you, Angela, Lauren, and Storm, along with Carly, Megan, and Sebastian on the brand new Kiwana tribe. Now, let's say you were in Angela's position. You got to design your tribe. Would you do it differently?
No, I'd probably keep. I mean, I would probably keep it the same, honestly. Like, I mean, I'd probably keep it the same. I mean, if I could have had Sharif, I would take Sharif.
So trade Sharif for Megan, or Sharif for Carly, or Sharif for Bash?
Sharif for Bash. But I mean, that's probably like wouldn't happen in like a million cases to one. So have Storm and Sharif on my tribe. So
was Sharif someone you wanted to work with?
Yeah. I actually, if Storm was gone in the picks, I was actually wanting to pick Sharif. So, and not because they just had bigger bodies. He gave me a good vibe as well. Like he was just out there. Like you could just tell, like he was a good guy.
Now, Angela says you would have swapped her and Dina, so you would have kept Dina on your tribe and put Angela on the other tribe if you had to choose between them.
No, I would keep Angela. Because we already had that 4, and like I would have kept Angela for sure. Like me and her connection, like on a personal level, was way more than like kind of what me and Dina had. Me and Dina was more like on the game level. That's what Angela was good at, was getting to know you and being personable. Like she was really great at that. So
talk me through these three new people you're meeting for the first time. What were your thoughts on Carly, Megan, and Bash?
Yeah, Carly, I actually wanted to work with Carly. I knew that she came over saying she was a free agent. She didn't have any real ties over there. They voted out Julia, and that she was a free agent. I believe Angela wanted to work with Carly as well, and me and Angela met up on that. Like, I want really like Carly. Like, we should try to keep her. Well, that wasn't the case with everyone. They just they're just like, all right, well. And then Bash is a character, man. Like, love the guy to death. Like, fun to hang around. Like, that was like my campfire buddy. Once everyone else was like getting split off, because I was with Bash from then on out, and we had a good connection. I knew he was smart, and I knew everything he was doing it wasn't Bash. Like, probably on a personal level, it wasn't Bash. Like, I think he had certain things that he was throwing in the game to like just throw people off. it was just like certain things like he would just ramble on about, and some things made sense, some of them didn't. So he was like, all right, just go with it. And then Megan, so when she first came over, I believe this was at night.
Mm-hmm.
We were making a fire. So like my first impression, I didn't really have one of her just yet. I knew that she was a strong physical player. She had that build. I didn't know her personality as well. But as soon as we came back to camp, we're trying to get a fire going. Well, Keenan done fucked up our flint. And she's like, oh my God, who did this? I was like, Keenan, and he lost our striker on day one. So, I mean, you can try to start this fire. I was like, here, I'll help you. And then she started, we started going at it, and then she was getting very, very frustrated, and like we were about to have words, and I was just like, I need to step back. Like, I was just like, I want to say something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers. So I just kind of stepped back, and then, but like, we got over that, and then we kind of like had our personal side talks. Like, me and her are fast walkers, so me and her were always like walking next to each other during travel, just having like little chit chats here and there.
Okay. Now, if your alliance, your alliance is all with you on this tribe, and so you're going to be sticking together. And the question is, which of the three Inoga would you want to target first?
So, like I said, we're kind of just going like back and forth between Carly and Bash. Storm really wanted Megan out.
Mm-hmm.
He was pushing for that so hard. Like, we were just like, you need to calm down, man. You need to calm down. And like, we got this. Megan's all right. Megan's all right. Turns out that probably would have been a better move down the road if we would have voted out Megan. But so we ended up going to Carly. Me and Angela we didn't want to go out of our way to advocate for her to stay. Because that would just make it look like something's kind of suspicious, especially when you got your whole alliance right there. You kind of don't want it to be split. So we kind of just went with the Carly vote.
Now, were you tempted to throw challenges at all? I mean, you're looking at the other tribe, and even though you have Dina, James, Casey, and Keenan as a yellow majority, you got to know Casey is jumping ship as soon as he possibly can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was jumping ship as soon as he stepped foot over there. As soon as he heard swap, he probably wetted his pants. But but anyway, so yeah, he was probably loving it over there, not having to be with us. But no, I didn't really want to throw any challenges at that point. I'm kind of like, I give everything I have, like, at everything I do. So whether that be work or any like kind of activity or even Reelfoot. So I just wanted to give it my all and try to win for my tribe. There was no really talk of throwing anything at that point. I think I asked Storm to throw one during the bag challenge, like later on, but I was just like, I can't. I told him, I was like, don't do that. I can't risk your game for that, especially you only got a fake idol. So
day 4, you have your first immunity challenge as a new tribe. This is the fishing for immunity challenge. We have to go right over the water to collect the fish, and you have to go and solve a word puzzle at the very end that spells victory at sea. Where were you in this challenge?
Oh, bro, I was everywhere in this challenge. I woke up that morning. We all kind of walked up there like, well, Ryan's the builder. He could build us a raft. I'm like, oh shit. So literally, only help I got, I had to tie every knot on that thing, and I didn't go the lazy route and do a big old thing. I know it won in Survivor, but like, I plan on doing something. I kind of like wanted to make something like show off like what I can actually do too. So yeah, our original plan was to have Megan and Lauren sit on it, so it wouldn't like sink in the water as much. But Bash and Megan ended up getting on it, so they were kind of like laying on their stomachs doing that, rowing it. But I had to swim out to the furthest dock, untie those. Ended up like halfway through swallowing some water. I'm trying not to throw up. I'm just sitting there, make it all the way back. We start working on the puzzle, and we see that they got victory like right off the bat. We're like, oh hell yeah, this is cake. This is cake. and it just wasn't clicking for him. And Lauren even said that she wanted to run, and so she didn't have to work on the puzzle. And
What was your reaction when you saw the other tribe's raft?
like, what the fuck is that? Like, I didn't know if they were gonna start doing the running on the log thing or what to get over there or what. Like, I didn't know we were in a lumberjack competition. Figured Josh and his beard would get on that thing. But yeah, I didn't think it would do as well. As they were swimming, the thing kept turning in their arms. So I'm just like, yeah, they're struggling. They're using way more energy when our people are just like laying there, just literally rowing.
I saw. That's still one of my favorite moments. Just seeing the pictures of the two rafts, the tribes. Man, I was like, oh, that's a raft. You said your raft's name was it the SS Jenny?
Yeah, it was Jenny. I love Forrest Gump. I was doing a whole bunch of Forrest Gump stuff out there. I just quoting, like I forget who. I think it was when Megs went out. I went back into like original Alliance, and I was just like that, she was gone. So yeah.
So coming out of this challenge loss, how much strategy was flying around as you were figuring out the vote on Carly?
Literally, Carly just kind of sat there around the fire, and each person was coming up to her. She was pleading her case. Bash and Megan's pleading their case, and we kind of all four just kind of went off, made a final decision, and just landed on Carly. Like I said, me and Angela wasn't trying to make it seem shady to Lauren and Storm that we were trying to work with Carly like that. And I think everyone was comfortable with keeping Bash and Megan just for the physical parts of the challenges.
So you said in retrospect you wish that maybe you had voted off Megan here and kept Carly?
Yeah, definitely. Because I really wanted to work with Carly. Like I think she was like, she was when she was over in blue, I would put her in like James' position. Like she knew puzzles, and she just seemed really smart with it. So I mean, if you're a respiratory therapist, you obviously can think and figure out some problems.
Now, the vote ends up being a 5-2-1. No idols are played. Carly goes home. More interesting, Sebastian does vote for Carly. Were you surprised by that?
I was, but here's the thing. So, like, right before I think this is the most freaked out Bash was at this point about getting voted out. So, like, right before we start headed up there, he comes up to me like, hey, which way we voted? And I was just like, okay, well, you just randomly threw an oddball out. I heard that you randomly threw an oddball out vote for Megan over on Blue. So I was like, I doubt you're going to vote with us anyway. So I told him Carly. And I was like, I really like you. I want to work with you. And I think we can keep the momentum going and have you, because you gel really, really well with the yellow.
Now, had your tribe lost again, who would you want to vote for?
Megan.
Okay.
Yeah, she was definitely.
She was not going to escape a second time.
I mean, and Storm was already advocating for her pretty hard. So I think if we didn't go for Megan that time, then yeah.
So this next mini challenge really puts you in another hero role, right? Because you end up being one of the last players. You basically take the hardest position to throw the beach ball essentially into the basket.
Yeah, so we had to do the running part. I had 3, which was the one Josh went to, so he had the mutiny. So I just needed to catch up to him. We were kind of falling back because of the James and Casey and Lauren situation at their box. So we kind of fell behind a bit since Casey got to go first. But I think, yeah, I got it on the first try, ran back, and dude, that day was so hot, and I already wasted most of my energy swimming, boating the raft already that day, and running on top of that. And then obviously me and Storm were going to be put on the furthest back spot to shoot. Before we, right when both teams started shooting, I looked over there. I was like, "Hey guys, shoot like Shaq." So, because I was just trying to get in their heads, like just be like, all right. And sometimes I would yell LeBron or I would yell Brick over to them, and just trying to get in their heads a little bit. I don't know if it worked. I mean, we were all just tired. They probably didn't even hear me, but yeah, Storm finally made his. He threw off his hat, then made his, and then I'm sitting there. I'm just struggling. I feel like I'm about to die. At this point.
You are visibly gassed to me because it's not. It seems so easy just to keep throwing the ball, right? But you after the running, the heat, the exhaustion, it just all hits you.
You could try all you want to throw it straight, keep your wrist straight. Just that hint of wind, blow it way off board. Like you think, like you're like, all right, I got this, and you think you put enough effort into it, and it just dies. So you're just like, ugh. And after so many, like, literally, my tribe was the one that kind of pushed me through because they're like, dude, come on, Ryan, you're showing so much heart. Like, come on, like, you got this. And like that just kept like that fueled me to keep going because I did not want to let them down. Like, yeah, we probably could have thrown that, but I mean, I didn't want to let them guys down. I didn't want to be in that situation that we had to go to tribal again because I know I don't want to be there. But yeah, just that took everything I had, and that washcloth that Angelo threw on my neck afterwards, like, oh. And Storm told me to take off my hat. He was like, "I took off my hat. You do it. You'll make it." And I think that at that point I was willing to do anything. I threw it off, and I think it was like 2 or 3 shots later, it just sunk in. And I didn't even have enough energy to celebrate. I was just like, yes.
It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
With the Anoga tribe going to the tribal council, did you have any predictions of who would go home?
Well, okay. So before this that challenge ended, Dina knew I had the idol. I honestly, I was standing there on the mat. I'm like, man, I should play this. I should try to hand this off to her. And I thought I was going to hand the real one off to her. And I was like, well, they're already deep in my bag. And I was like, I don't want to rip everything out of my bag and then make it super obvious at that point. And then, so I was like, I'm just going to let her go. She's a good talker. She'll be able to work her way out of it. But yeah, that wasn't the case. So she falls. It seemed like she told me that she knew Josh when she was over in our tribe. She's like, yeah, I know Josh. So, I mean, I thought that might work. I thought Josh would keep her safe, but apparently he did the opposite. So, in case he's over there trying to say, oh, Ryan, Dean, a duo. And he's just trying to blow up everyone's game on yellow. But, I mean, we already knew he was going to do that. But I don't think that helped Dina.
So, during this day, Angela found a mutiny advantage, and she told you about that?
Yep. Yeah, she found it on the water bottle when we were doing the Victory at Sea puzzle. Yeah, she told me about that. I didn't read it right away. We just didn't really have time at that point. I think it was like a few hours later she showed it to me. So I knew she had that.
And do y'all put a plan together to hand it off to someone from your original tribe at the next challenge?
Was that the second swap?
Well, I guess we're leading into the second swap now, right? It's where you do have a handoff.
Okay. So yeah, no, I don't think at that point we plan on using it.
Okay. Well, talk me through what you saw and how things went down at the second swap, because things get crazy fast.
Yeah, so, okay, it was drop your buffs. I let everyone pick on our mat first. I was just like, man, I do not want to be a blue. I just want to stay where I've been, the camp that I helped build. I just wanted to stay there, honestly. I was like, I didn't care who came. But, yeah, that was very nerve-wracking. When I seen Josh over there, I was like, oh, this guy's a goner. So, and then but Storm went over there, and like my heart just sank. I'm like, oh man, like, I can't let him go over there, naked. Like he was naked to the wind, man. Like so, I was just like, all right, here, take this fake one. I'm not going to give you my real one because that'd just be stupid on my part. I mean, it looks stupid, but I'm not stupid. So I was just like, here, take my fake one. I actually put, so there was a Ziploc bag. I just put my real one in that, and I just kept the actual idol. Gave Storm the burlap bag. The clue that I found on day one from last season, gave him that, and then gave him the skull and the piece of paper too for the actual real immunity, and just to make it look believable, he just flashed it. Those guys never seen what it looked like, so to say that for Josh to say that he knew it wasn't real, I mean he never saw it, so obviously he knew. He had some suspicion that it could be real, especially when KC whispered to Megan that I had an idol during the first swap. So they thought that was the real idol. Casey didn't know it. Casey thought he knew I had a fake idol, but he didn't know I had a fake idol.
So during all the swap, both the mutiny advantages end up being played. All right, and so do you wish that the mutiny advantage had been handed off to Storm instead of Keenan, or are you pretty happy with Keenan getting the advantage and coming back?
Yeah, so I think. See, this is the downfall of not reading the actual note, and since it was like a couple hours later, we didn't read it fully because I mean this thing was lengthy. So to like actually gather all the rules and like be out there for a good while to actually sit down and read it like together and like comprehend everything and see what our options were and like when it could be used and how it could be used. I think that was our downfall because we handed that thing off to Keenan way earlier than we needed to because we walked up and was like, Keenan, read that. That probably wasn't our best idea. But Storm already knew about the immunity at that point, and then when we had a swap, Keenan already had it, so we couldn't just be like, hey, Keenan, give that to Storm. Like, you know what I mean? That'd be kind of fucked up. So we were kind of stuck at that point. And then Josh whips out his, like, oh, I don't want to be here. It's like, good. We don't want you here. So, I mean, we would love him there for a vote out, but I mean, that was the only reason.
Oh, because you're looking at your new Kawanu tribe, and it looks a little familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's me, Angela, Lauren, James, Keenan, and Bash.
It's practically your old tribe all back together, just with Bash now.
Yeah, so it was pretty chill. I mean, we got back from that immunity, and we kind of, I mean, it was tough. We all sat underneath the shelter, and me and Angela kind of looked at each other and was like, "Who do you think?" She asked me, "Who do you think who should go?" And I said, "James." And she said, "I do too." And only reason why I said James because I knew they were so close to each other, and I knew her loyalty was with me when she picked me for the first tribe swap. And then I just wanted to make sure that loyalty was still there when if she was willing to get rid of somebody that she was close with that wasn't in our lines. So I was like, James. And she was like, yeah. Because Bash was, like at this point, Bash has been with us for the same time, if not longer than what James was. So Bash is making good connections. I mean, he was just so easy to relate to and like just chill around camp, worked his ass off as well. It's like, I mean, he just fit in so well. Like he was one of our four. Like he, like without missing a beat.
And then you make the decision to also tell James, "Hey, this is it."
Yeah, this is probably my hardest moment in the game. Because, like I said, I love James to death. Like, great stand-up guy. Like, I could not just go to like talk game with him and be like, "Yeah, man, you're safe." I can't lie to him. Like, that's the type of person I will not lie to. He did me no wrong. And everyone Lauren, Angela felt the same way. Bash didn't really know James, but except for a few minutes that they got back at camp together. But I just kind of pulled him off to the side. I was like, listen, man, we kind of came about it, and we have to vote you off. And he wanted an explanation, but between him crying, me crying, it was just, I couldn't really give him one. And then we all walked back, and then we all started crying. There was probably more tears in that camp than there had been all week with rain and whatnot. But especially Angela and Lauren, they were a mess. But James was pretty receptive. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't happy or thrilled about it, but he was like, well, I mean, he took it pretty good. Well, let's just have a nice night at camp and worry about this thing in the morning. We tried to get him an emergency tribal council, but Amos was at home. So, and then he woke up the next morning. I'm sitting around the fire, and he comes walking over, looking all tired. I'm like, James. He's like, what? I'm like, can you see? He's like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, see, huge bite on your eye. And his eye just and it looked like an ant bit him or something, because it wasn't a mosquito bite or a spider bite. So it looked like a little ant just bit him right there. And poor guy had the worst last 15 hours of the game. And I just felt so bad. That was literally my lowest point in the game.
So James gets voted out unanimously at the next tribal council in a 5-1-1 vote. After voting him out, did you if you go back to tribal council, did you already know who you wanted to vote out then?
No, honestly. We just went into it like we were going to win it.
Okay. And so
that was no other option for us. We got to win this one. We have
the next challenge is the blindfold challenge. And were you the caller for your tribe?
Unfortunately, yes.
Talk me about that.
Oh, man. First of all, they were like, you got the most recognizable voice. You got the loudest voice. I'm like, not really. And they're like, yeah. I was like, I'd rather be blindfolded. And they're like, well, no one's going to do it. I was like, all right, I'll do it. So, and it seemed like this all season, me and Josh, going up one-on-one, we did on the basketball, on the running. So we're going after it, and I wasn't trying to throw. I was trying my hardest. And honestly, when I got them there, those guys would literally put their hand out and they would pick up the yellow. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. So I know Bash and Keenan were almost in the lake. Angela, she killed that competition. She was I was telling her to run. She just sitting over her head and just running back. And she found 3 pieces, I think. I think Lauren found 2. Keenan found 1. Bash found 1. I don't know. Yeah, but that was tough. It was my fault. I did not hear that the numbers had to be right side up. And I wasn't really paying attention to that because I was just trying to focus in on getting them to slide it in into the rack. And I think we were at 6 by the time they were done. So they're like, oh, you had to have it upside down. I'm like, not like it mattered anyways. We already done fucked it up.
So Parker has a question. Do you think there would have been a more ideal caller for your tribe instead of you?
I think Bash or Angela could have taken that role. I mean, that's a pretty critical role to play. Like I said, it was I'm placed in those critical roles. I would have liked to have that off my shoulders and just been that. But Angela or Bash, because Angela, everyone's gonna recognize Angela's voice, and Bash, just put him up there, see how he does at it. You know what I mean? He's not part of the original. Just go up there, put him up there, let him do it. But it was me.
And so, unfortunately, the other tribe takes the challenge again. Talk me through the strategy in determining that you were going to vote out Keenan here.
So we kind of did the same thing. We walked back to camp and we all asked who's next. And we're like, honestly, we really like Bash. I think we could honestly beat him at the end if we take him. And like I said, he just gelled so well with us. And it was just we hated to let Keenan go because he was loyal to us, and when he came back over there, like me and Keenan started actually talking a little bit more, and that's why it hurt us. And actually, like on the way up to Tribal, Keenan. Well, actually, first off, I want to say that Keenan tore up the woods, just looking for an idol. Once we told him that we were voting him out because we couldn't do him like we had to give him the same respect we gave James as well.
And Keenan knows you have an idol.
Yeah, Keenan knows we have an idol because, and I think Bash knows I have an idol at this point because me and James, right before the James vote out, I told James that I had an idol, and he spills the beans a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, no. And then, but whatever. And then, so on our way up to Tribal, Keenan was like, hey, so if you vote me out, I'm not voting for you at Tribal. Or if you make it, I'm not voting you at Final Tribal.
Because you know jury has started with James.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm already thinking jury management at this point. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right. And I'm like, I can afford to lose one with Keenan. Like, it's all right. So, and at this point, James didn't make the merge. The merge hadn't even happened yet. And so we found out that he was on the jury. So I was really happy for James when I found that out. Like, because the look on that man's face, like, he was just pure joy at that point. But Keenan, on the way up there, he said he wasn't going to vote for me at Final Tribal if he got voted out. He actually did write my name down, which was the only vote I received the whole entire game until my vote out.
Mm-hmm.
But when he did get voted out, he came up to me. He's like, "You better go fucking win this thing." Gave me a big old hug, and I kind of like surprised me. Like, you just voted for me? Like, you pulling some bad shit right now or what? So, but yeah. So that at that point, I kind of like knew I kind of made a mistake by getting rid of somebody that was like super loyal to me. I probably should have gathered up the previous vote, try to get James and Keenan and myself and maybe one of the others to get rid of Megan.
So do you think this is an opportunity in this swap tribe the vote out Angela or Lauren maybe? Is this something you should have done?
No, not at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly kind of just wanted to go to merge with them. I wasn't really trying to.
Mm-hmm.
I figured we all just kind of just fight it out at merge. Once we made merge.
It's just this tribe left you with very hard decisions. Essentially, it's like there is no one good for your game to vote out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because we had so many. I mean, we had 9 to begin with, and at this point, I mean, we still got what, like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I mean, majority. So I mean, and then we're also working on. We already Bash flipped over our side, and then the girls are working on Megan. I'm talking to Megan, putting stuff in her ear. We're talking game a little bit. It's just kind of you just get put in a position where you got to make hard moves.
So after this, you officially reach the merge. Your merge get 10 people. There's 10 original Blue Tribe members, 10 original Yellow Tribe members. Casey's jumped ship to them. Bash's jumped ship to you. I guess the first thing to say is, how was the Applebee's?
Oh, dude, the Applebee's. I went to the onion rings, and then like the cheese sticks was next. I could care less about the burger, but the burger was delicious. I only ate like half of it because I was just slamming everything I could so fast, and it didn't. And that's not me. Like, I'm a grazer. Like, I can't. I'm not a food competition eater. So, I chowed down on that for a little bit. Actually, the best thing I think I had was the apple juice. Like, just that like, all that flavor in your mouth, and just, like, so fresh. It was just like, oh, yes. And then the champagne. Only argument I have is they should have had some orange juice with the champagne, so we can make some mimosas.
Make a mimosa.
But, yeah. But, yeah, that was great. And I don't even like Applebee's, honestly, because last time I ate at Applebee's, I bit into a chicken wing, and that bitch was raw. So, so when I heard Applebee's, I'm like, It sounds good. I'll eat it.
At this point, you've barely been eating, and warm food sounds great.
Oh yeah. Because we're only eating rice at that point. I mean, we did. Yeah. So I completely forgot to mention that back on day 2, we won a Slim Jim in our first challenge, and we were all like going around the campfire, and we were like, "Oh, has anyone who else has a Slim Jim?" And Lauren and James never had a Slim Jim. So we're like, what? So we all split it into 9s, and like we actually had them like get up in front of everyone just so we could see their like faces when they had bit into it. And they're like, "Ew, how can you guys eat this stuff?" And I was like, "Here, give it to me." And then they both gave it to me. And I handed my other one like Storm or something. We were just like, "Hell yeah, that's an extra piece." But yeah, they don't like Slim Jims. James wanted me to bring that up because he's like, "I forgot the Slim Jim story."
So, on this tribe, you're getting to meet 3 people for the first time. You're getting to meet you're getting to meet Josh, Barbara, and Sharif finally.
Yeah. So, Sharif, I kind of like I said, I wanted to work with Sharif. I actually want to pick him on my tribe, but like that was the guy who I wanted to talk to first. So like me and him started like shelter building and like just kind of putting an addition so we could fit all of us underneath the shelter in case if it did rain again. He helped me a lot out with that. Josh and Barbara didn't really talk no game. I think one of the first things Josh said to me, since I'm the only smoker on the season, Josh comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I would appreciate if you wouldn't smoke around me, just for like certain issues." I'm like, "Yeah, cool, man, that's fine. I can respect that." I walked away. I'm walking away. I turn around and Josh is standing right behind me, downwind, to where he can smell my cigarette. So what the fuck are you even bitching about me, like being around you for when you're gonna follow me? So I was just like, all right, whatever, man. So I didn't. If he was around me, that was his choice to walk away. So I was like, whatever. I tried. Barbara, me and her sat around camp, just kind of chatted. We didn't really talk any game. I think the only game that me and Barbara talked was how she was bitching about Josh, how they got in a fight about carrying water because Josh hurt his ankle and he made her carry the water back to camp. Just okay, that's fine. But yeah, we were just come here, buddy.
Hello.
Say hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
This is my nephew.
Are you going to train to be a Survivor player too?
Yeah, possibly. But am I down? Yeah. So where were we at? I'm sorry.
Barbara carrying water for Josh.
Yeah. So she was like, I was like, would you vote him out? And she was like, yeah, I'd vote him out. I'm like, all right, just see what she said. I knew that was complete bullshit because, the Holy Trinity ain't going to be broken up. Come on now. They ain't going to vote for each other.
Did you talk to Casey at all when you were reunited?
Yeah, he actually came up to me. He's like, so Lauren and Angela are trying to haul in Megan, and Megan's taking your spot. And at that point, this is like 10 people left still. I'm like, no, she's not. At least not at this point. And so, I probably should have listened to him, honestly, but that wasn't part of my game at that point. I just kind of wanted to still ride a little bit longer with the forward that we had, the strong forward that we had.
So Storm has a quick question. How many types of Mountain Dew are you drinking?
Yes, right now? He figured it out. We got Baja Blast, and then we got Voltage.
Oh man! So can you rank your Mountain Dew from favorite to least favorite?
Yeah, this is my go-to right here. The Voltage. It's like a raspberry, and then like the Baja Blast is what you get from Taco Bell. and then the rest can go in the garbage.
Not Code Red. How can you malign it like that?
Oh, I drank so much Code Red right when that came out. Me and my cousin Adam, we lived on that stuff. And LimeWire, it just leaves in the original, they all just leave bad taste in my mouth that hurt my stomach. But like, really, if I ain't drinking those two, I'm drinking Coke.
So at this merge, it seems pretty deadlocked, right? You have the original blue tribe, you have the original yellow tribe. There's some in the middle, and the player that matters most ends up being Megan, right? Because she's kind of the person who's going to decide, is it going to tie or not?
Yeah. So I think we're all kind of like just trying to play it out, and then like you can hear Megan like just by what she's telling us that she's going to go in our favor. We just had to trust her. I mean, there ain't no real reason why she shouldn't trust us at this point since we kept her for so long. And I think like she was working on Angela and Lauren, getting in good with them, so I think she felt comfortable there more than she felt comfortable with Josh and Sharif, just because she knew all the yellow were going after them. So why not jump ship?
So how was the first immunity challenge for you? This is the one where you have to stack up the little plates on a disc.
Yeah. So I shoot clays all the time. So I'm like, all right, I probably stand a good chance at this. But I was like, further I got into it, started like teetering. I broke each wrist at least 2 times.
Oof.
Before like dislocated one completely, like snapped it in half completely. And arm strength ain't really my challenge. I'd rather do like something like running or something like that. So, yeah, I knew I was going to be one of the first people out. I mean, I think I was like 4th or 5th person out. But.
So Casey ends up winning this immunity, and part of the plan that hatches from the Noga tribe is to have this very flashy exchange where Casey gives his necklace to Sharif, and then Josh gives maybe an idol, you don't know, to Casey. And you heard all about this through Megan, correct?
Yeah, Megan was the one that told us this. We didn't know quite how things were going to shake out until it shook out. I think we went in it knowing we should get Josh because he's probably the least likely one to have an idol. And him being an idol maker, I don't see why he wasn't out there making a fake idol or something. I mean, I knew we had that one that he found at the Palooza Ball one, whatever it was called, Pete Palooza. But I mean, honestly, I would have told them like, "Hey, give me this. I'll give the fake idol to Sharif," and I would have kept Josh safe. But I mean, it worked out for us. We kind of knew, and to put all of our votes on Josh. And
well, talk about the decision, because what ends up happening is your idol ends up getting played this tribal council.
Yeah. At this point, everyone knows I have an idol. It's no secret. Once I seen all them others going out, I gave it to Lauren because her name was floating around right before we left, and I rather have numbers at that point in the game. And I just once they did all their switcheroony, and right after we casted all of our votes, Lauren looked back at me. She was like, "You want to keep this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she started handing it. I was like, "No, just keep it. I was like, "Just play it." I was like, "It's better to get it out of my hands now, especially since everyone knows I know it, and keep you safe just in case."
Do you think that idol would have like helped your game had you kept it, or would you think it would have made it would have hurt you more?
I think it kind of would have hurt me more, just because I mean, I knew somebody was going to have to flip at some point, and that's just, if not that, then they were going to flush it eventually. But it's just hard to tell if it would help me or not. I mean, you don't really know until that time comes. But at that time, I just needed Lauren still in the game, which killed me. But I mean, she was safe anyway, so I mean, just in case.
Did you know Storm had an idol?
Yes. He thought he was a sly. he thought he was sly. He was like, "Hey man, I found this note and at Merch Feast, and he said the idol's around camp. You need to go look for it." And I was like, "All right, man. I wouldn't go look for no idol, making myself obvious in front of all those people right there." And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And he came up to me probably about like 20, 30 minutes later. He's like, "Hey man, I found it." And then I think he told me that he was going to play it. And I was just like, ah. And then when he actually did play, I was like, no, because I already played mine. And I was like, no. I was like, I wish you would have just kept that shit in your pocket. But, I mean, he felt after that tribal, he told me, he's like, I didn't want that. In case somebody found out about that, I did not want that thing in my hand. So he's like, it's better just to get rid of it and make sure I'm safe right now than leaving with a souvenir.
So Josh goes home, leaving your lines to the majority. And this next challenge is another wrist strength challenge, your favorite, where you have to balance the ball in a surprisingly heavy paddle.
Oh, man. And going into this, I looked at it and I was like, my cousin won this one, like, in his season. I'm like, I have to win. I have to win. And then I got up there, I was like, I can't win. So, I mean, I held on for as long as I could, and then, like, my wrist just started giving out and hurting too bad. I was just like, all right, man. I mean, my cousin was a server for a long time, so, like, for him to actually, like, hold that there, and he held it so steady, I was just like, man, he made it look so easy, because those logs are heavy. But, yeah, I mean, I wasn't too worried at that point about dropping on that challenge. I mean, because we, like, after that last vote, we had the numbers. So Megan already flipped, so it was a done deal. So I think everyone knew that we wanted to go after KC, and that would get the less blood on people's hands, because everyone wanted them gone.
And so Lauren and Storm both win this challenge, right? Which is great because they're both your lions. So talking about how did the plan to vote out KC come together?
I talked to Sharif, and what's up, bud? And yeah, I talked to Sharif, and he was on board with KC. So I knew one of the original Unoga, if they're willing to get rid of KC, as long as they're pretty much playing at this point, as long as it ain't them, good. So that's what you like to see. KC, or not KC, I'm sorry. I don't think as long as it wasn't Barbara, I'm sure she was okay with KC, and the rest of the yellows was okay with KC. So it's kind of unanimous at that point. Now, when Storm came up to me a little bit later, and he was like right before our challenge or tribal, and he goes, "Hey, so KC just walked up to me. I act like I found a hidden immunity item with your fake immunity," and he was like, I kind of just went up to him, and he was like, I purposely picked it up. He's like, "Oh, did you find something?" He was like, "Yeah," and he was like, he didn't want to. He was like, "Well, would you want to use it on me?" And Stone was like, "Well, I'll think about it." Like, didn't want to seem too giving right away to make it look like it was a fake one that he's just trying to hand off. So, like, on the way up there, they had some words. I wasn't even part of that. They ended up switching. Which I don't know why you would switch a fake idol for a fake idol, especially when he's the one over there saying that I had a fake idol. So, I mean, obviously, if you guys thought I gave it to Storm, I mean, why wouldn't you play? Why would you trade a fake idol for a fake idol and get mad about it? That's what I was thinking. Then KC ended up getting out. And,
yeah, KC plays your fake idol. It's a fake, so nothing happens. And unfortunately, I think it sounds like the skull kind of got crushed at that point from use.
Oh yeah, Storm probably sat under or something. But it's cool. I actually kept it pretty intact until I gave it to him. So, but in a China shop over there.
So unfortunately, Ghost Island, whenever that comes for Reelfoot, your fake idol will not be reappearing because it's kind of maybe dust at this point.
No, it won't.
And so Casey goes home pretty unanimously in a 6-2-1 vote. This next part, this is fun because you end up doing a reward challenge. So this is when you have to balance blocks on the pedestal while you're holding a rope. And your team, it's you, Bash, Megan, and Angela. You kill it.
Oh yeah, we killed it. So I was kind of happy with who I drew, because it's always that person that's in the middle, to be on yours, and you get to go away on a reward. I knew this was huge. So once again, I get voluntold, I guess you could say, to put this. I had 2 blocks, so I did the first one. I just kind of ran up there with the string in my hand, kind of ran back real quick, and once I was back there holding that rope, somebody like start to lose some slack. I'm like, hey, tighten your side up, tighten your side up, tighten your side up. And I think just the communication that we all had, I think that was a Reelfoot record too, for that challenge. So the communication we had was killer. And the other tribe dropped, and we seen that, and we're like, just slow and steady, slow and steady. And
yeah, so your tribe wins. You get to go on a little reward vacation to is it a gas station or a restaurant?
We went to Bricks and Brews. I don't know how I remember that, but yeah, it was good. They had like subs, pizza, all kinds of good stuff. We ended up getting nachos as an appetizer, which probably was my downfall because I slammed those, and eating a whole bunch of jalapenos on an empty stomach was not a good idea. And then I had like a chicken bacon ranch sub, and I got like halfway through that sub, and I just knew I was going to be sick. So I'm just sitting there the whole entire time during the live, just like trying to get some wind. And then me and Bash go outside, and I'm trying to talk game with this dude, and he's one sitting here doing sign language with me, like just out by the street, just doing sign language. I'm like, come on, man, let's talk some game or something. But at that point, and then the whole entire time, I find out Angela and Megan are talking game, which I figured they would. I just figured Bash would talk a little bit of game with me, like while we were one-on-one. Me and Bash go back inside. Bash and Megan end up going to the restroom because they're getting ready to leave. And at that point, I want to talk game with Angela, but I also wanted to have time away from those two to where I could look up underneath the tables and chairs. So I'm just like patting everyone's ass as they're sitting, like productions, not at their actual ass, but underneath the seats. Like, where's the clue? Where's the clue? Taylor's like, I'm sorry, Taylor. And I'm just apologizing. There's nothing there. I went in the bathroom. I looked in the drawers, behind the mirror, everywhere. There was nothing. So I kind of missed my opportunity to talk to Angela one-on-one with that. That was one of my downfalls.
Angela wants me to ask you about dive bombing under the tables.
Yeah. That's what I was just talking about. I was like literally going down in there and like just like looking up, seeing if there's any like kind of tape or anything. I mean, I was looking through the napkins. I was sure that there was something there, but I didn't know if there was a clue. Maybe Parker could answer that, but I didn't see one. We told Amos what we did, and he kind of just chuckled at it.
So you get back from this, you go straight into your next mini challenge, and this is a memory challenge, so no wrist strength, which is nice. There's a bunch of boxes with stuff inside. You have to try to memorize it, then answer questions about it.
Yeah.
How was this for you?
Sucks. I can't remember anything, man. Like, I'm the biggest stoner, like, so I can't remember. If my head wasn't attached, I'd forget it. Like, I was honestly out there forgetting how to, or not forgetting, but just forgetting to drink water. I spent more time looking for my water bottle than I did looking for an idol. Let's just put it that way.
Well, because you're so good at finding idols, but water bottles,
yeah, my water bottle,
whole another level challenge.
Yeah, and Angela, she that whole week, hey Ryan, you need to drink water. You need to drink water. Where's my water bottle? So, but yeah, Bash ended up drinking like a big ass glass mug of beer while he was there. He said he was feeling kind of drunk, so he's telling that to everyone. If you're drunk off one beer, you just don't tell anyone. You know what I mean? So, he plays that card, and this motherfucker ends up getting 8 out of 10 questions right. Like, that's absurd. Like, I think I was like third from the bottom, so I wasn't the worst, but yeah, and I was coming back from that challenge after I did end up throwing up, so I was just kind of like out of it at that point, and I knew memory challenges are not my thing.
So it's end of day 6. I believe, Barbara is going to be the next vote out the next morning. And she kind of says, hey, let's all just kind of hang out and don't bother strategizing because I know I'm going. I want to make this kind of a fun last evening. So what's going through your head as you reach the end of day 6, practically almost the final 7?
I'm like, that night I'm just kind of like looking back. Like, I think we were all in bed and we all just kind of like lay there. I was cracking jokes. I was like, you guys want to hear a joke? Everyone started laughing, and then kind of just faded off. But like as I'm like, while everyone's faded off, I'm like, all right, I got 2 more days, and like I'm out here for my cousin, so I'm just trying to, got to do it for him, And then the next day is his birthday, so I'm like, oh man, I gotta bust ass, and we all ended up having a good night, and I'm just trying to reflect on like what my next game moves are. I know I wanted to get out Lauren at some point the next day. But yeah.
So if you looking at the Merge Tribe, how would you rank the importance of the people in the Merge Tribe to your game?
Storm number 1, Angela number 2, probably Megan number 3, Sharif. Who else is what? Who did I miss out on? I'm sorry.
I think there's Lauren and I guess Barbara.
Oh, okay. So I'm replaced. Okay, so
Lauren, Barbara,
Storm,
Bash, and the other.
Angela, Lauren, Sharif, and Barbara.
All right, and where's Bash fall into that?
Oh shit. Bash will probably be behind or be in front of Sharif.
Okay.
Like putting in between the middle of Lauren and.
Had you started talking to Storm about, hey, we might need to flip the tables on Lauren soon?
We talked about it, but we thought it was too soon. So I think Barbara was going out, and then we knew Barbara was going out. So we were like, man, we got to get out a big physical threat. Sharif was solid in those immunity challenges. Like he was fighting for his life, and just seeing that heart in Storm was like, we got to get out Sharif. We got to get out Sharif. And like we were just so like stuck to getting Sharif out that like even when Sharif would come up to us, like we were just kind of like blowing him off. And I think that's where our biggest downfall was, like as far as like me and Storm going to the end together, and how like honestly like thinking back on it now, it's like why wouldn't I just take Sharif and Storm with me? But I knew that probably wouldn't have been a possibility, but at least get us to like the Final Four, like maybe like make us a different Final Four.
I mean, did you have an ideal Final 3 in your head that you like that they would have liked to have tried?
Yeah, I wanted me, Angela, and Storm.
Okay.
And I could explain that if you want. Or
yeah, but by all means, talk more.
Yeah, so Angela, I think I had a good chance going up against her at the end. I know she was a wicked social player, but she didn't do nothing around camp. I'm sorry, Angela. I felt like I was taking care of everyone. I think I had that on her. I feel like I had like the social game, because I was in with everyone she was in with. Maybe not as strong with certain players that she was with, but like I was always in the end for the most part. And Storm, he was going once Dina kind of got out. Like that was, I told him I was never going to write his name down unless it was Storm, and he said the same for me. So that was my Final 3, ideally.
And was Bash the player you were going to take to the Final Four then?
Yeah, I want to take Bash to the Final Four. Like, if circumstances happen that he would have won the final immunity challenge, like, I knew I could beat Bash.
Mm-hmm.
Like we drug Bash with us. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, only reason why Bash would be in that spot is because of the 4 original yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, pretty much his fate was in our hands at every vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he didn't really have like an argument against that. And I mean, yeah, he could say that he kind of swindled or talked to this person, but I think that 4, like we pretty much dictated the game to a point.
Yeah, so it sounds like Sharif would have gone home at 7. Lauren would have gone home at 6.
At 6.
And then Megan 5, Bash 4, and that would have left you, Storm, and Angela in the final 3.
Right.
Which is actually a little close to how it goes out, just the hiccup of what happens at final 7.
Yeah, I was that close. Like, I just
Yeah.
should have followed Sharif. Because, like, Sharif actually brought me aside. He's like, what do you think about the girls? What do you think about voting for the girls? I'm like, yeah. I was like, would you be willing to vote for Megan? He's like, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, well, let's talk about the final 7 rounds. So you have this major endurance challenge, right? This is the when it rains and pours, hold your arm above your head.
Right.
How long do you stay up there for?
I was the first one out.
Okay.
I told myself, I always get emotional about this. I always tell myself, like looking back on it, I have no regrets about it, but like I dropped to call my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
So I dropped to call my cousin. It was his birthday. Like going into it, I knew I wanted to talk to him, especially if I had the chance to on his birthday. So he was he was the real reason why I was there. So now when I actually did go out, I talked to him. He was like, "You need to grab this game by the balls and make some fucking." Like he couldn't say make any moves, but because he couldn't talk any game, but that was like his hint of like make some fucking moves, and it didn't register with me at that. I was just so happy to be like talking to him, and then like I'm sitting there after the phone call. I'm like, I should not have dropped. I should not have dropped, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I probably just made the biggest mistake in this. If I would have just had it, because I probably could have done that. I mean, that's not like physical wrist strength right there. That's just will right there. And I made the decision to drop, and I think I did it for a good reason.
And so you feel you would get Lauren and Angela run for the money in the 2-hour mark?
Oh yeah. I think I could have. My arms ain't that heavy. I have pretty good endurance. Like honestly, I was turned around to where my feet were going downhill, because and everyone was facing uphill. So like I was actually like holding it a little bit easier, and like Bash was actually like telling me like different strategies too. Like, hey, just try this, just try that. And if I was up there with Bash and we were just trying different things that helped us both. I mean, I think I could have won that one.
So Lauren ends up winning immunity, and at that point, you're probably okay with that, right? Because her name isn't Sharif.
Right. Yeah. So since Lauren winning, that's made me go to the Sharif vote. And that's when he pulled us aside. I was like, hey, what do you think our options is? And that's when I brought up the Megan thing, and he didn't really seem like he wanted to do that. I think he did bring up Angela. I didn't really want to do that because I wanted her in my final 3. So, and then at some point he ended up getting with Angela and Lauren and sneaking away in. I mean, kudos to him for doing that. I mean, that's a big game move, and yeah, and you know what? Like looking back on it, like I was the one just sitting around the fire. Like Angela wasn't coming up to me, and Lauren came up to me once. Megan kind of was like, "Hey, you still get on the Sharif boat? You should." I was like, "Yeah." And like as we're walking up to final tribal or tribal council, I'm just like, shit, because I literally felt like a cow being led to the slaughterhouse, like in my gut. And so I was just like, all right, this might be it. This might be it. But I still have faith that my alliance was going to vote out Sharif. Like I said, me and Megan's were fat walkers, and she wasn't even talking to me about any kind of votes or nothing. And I'm just like, oh, man. And then, like, I just hear all them just like whispering. I mean, I knew, like, I didn't really like expect it, but yeah, it was definitely a fucking blindside.
So, but you had an inkling like something doesn't feel right.
Yeah, just like that. Those butterflies, like, just like, oh man, like, what if this happened right now?
Well, so let's say Angela wins immunity instead of Lauren, and Sharif comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to vote out Lauren." Is that something you're more receptive to?
Yeah, for sure. Because I was already had it in my head. Lauren needed to be going before I did. Because, like I said, this was when at the beginning of the interview, I said she just came up to me and was like, "Hey, I want to work with you one-on-one, but be really low key about it and not seem like we're a big duo." And that just kind of like set off a little red flag, and I still remember that from then. So, like, I'm like, she's gonna probably be gunning for me at one point. And that's like when I did get voted out, I was just like, "Here you go, girl. Here's that medallion."
So why did you hand the medallion to her?
Because I know she fucked me over the worst. But but like seeing her come through that jury door when I was like, I knew you'd be next. And I told her I was gunning for her, and she's like, "Well, I got you before you got me." So I was like, "Hey, I mean, that's how it shook out." So no hard feelings.
Do you think what are the things you think you could have done differently to make the final 7 end up different for yourself?
Honestly, the key is Sharif. Like, because me and Storm, we had Bash. Like, Bash was going to work with us. And like, me and Storm even told Bash about a final 3. Like, us 3 sitting at the finals. Just so he would vote our way. But that was our biggest mistake, was not roping in Sharif for that vote and to take out one of those girls. And like we were so stupid. We were just like, we knew the whole, like, pretty much the whole season that the girls wanted it either all girl alliance or a female winner. So we were just so stupid at that point, and like that's where the numbers were in our favor, and we just fucked that up.
Now, were you surprised to see who ended up being the final 3?
I can't. No, because Angela always told me she wanted to take Bash, and I knew Storm wanted to take Bash. So, and I was like, Angela, I don't think Angela ever really mentioned me in part of her final 3 to come and think of it. I know it was like the 4, but I don't think it was a 3. She told me after the game, she was like, "I don't think I could have beat you." She was like, "You did so much out there, your personality, everyone liked you." I mean, that's respectable. I thought I went out like a respectable way. Actually, I think I would have been pissed if I wasn't blindsided, because being blindsided just means you're a real threat. And you
are the move of the season, right? Like, your vote out, I think, is what ends up defining your season as the turning point.
Yeah, because I mean, it could have went so many ways at that point. Like, if I didn't get voted out and Sharif went home, like, what could have happened? Or if Lauren would have went home, like, would Megan like try to work harder with Sharif and try to get anyone else out? Yeah. So
Angela Curran, she would have never taken to that.
I know she wouldn't have. but yeah, I know Storm probably would have. I heard that Storm said that he would have taken me because I don't know how to talk in front of a group of people. But all I do is gotta give that wink, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So you're on the jury now. What do you value? Well, I guess Now here's the question I asked first.
Yeah.
You are in the jury with KC. How does that go?
Oh man! So I walked through that door, and Casey's like, "No, I didn't think it'd be you. I didn't think it would be you."
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting there telling me how he thinks like his girlfriend would really like. He was like, "I bet you she's you're her favorite on this season just because we had a rival, and like me and my best friend have a rival, and so like I was kind of like nervous about it, but you know what I did? Me being me, I was just like, hey buddy." I just slapped my stuff right next to his cot, and we slept right next to each other, and it was all good. Like
So
we
you just
talked.
charmed him and problem solved.
Oh yeah, like it was in the game. Like once we're outside of the game, I have no beef with you. Like
Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
yeah,
Talk to me about your philosophy as a juror. What are you looking for in a winner?
I want to see somebody that like really made moves, who overcome adversity, like really like fought their way through the game.
Mm-hmm.
That just like yeah, you can create social, but like having that disruption where something goes wrong, and then you have to climb your way out of that.
Mm-hmm.
That shows me like you have fight, you have will, like
Mm-hmm.
you want to be there. You made moves to get there.
Mm-hmm. And so talk to me about your decision between voting for Bash versus Angela versus Storm and how you landed on Storm.
Oh, it wasn't a decision. I knew who I was voting for Storm as soon as I went in there. Like I said, only way I was writing Storm's name down was for him to win, and I held true to that. I'm a man of my word.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Angela was going to win just kind of by what the jury was talking. I think if Megan would have went to the final three, I think she would have won it.
Mm-hmm. She would be Angela.
And coming over the adversity, swapping tribes, getting in with the Kawanu members that were the main Kawanu members. So yeah, I think that was one of the main reasons.
How was the post game for you?
Honestly, so I think they set this up. This is when I thought this shit was rigged. So on my vote out, we're walking up to Tribal, and they're sitting there, like production sitting there eating Skyline chili that they just made. I was like, I don't want none of that shit. That's like, I'm from Ohio, like I love Skyline, so I'm like, I want none of that shit. That shit's not even real. Like just like bashing Skyline, like because I don't even want to look at it. They're sitting there eating ponies and three ways and shit. And I'm like, ah. And as soon as I get in, they're like, "You want a Skyline?" I'm like, "Fuck yes, I do." Like, so, yeah, I ate a big old three-way. They had the oyster crackers, the whole nine. And then I slept. And then, like, someone woke me up because someone was making a store run. I was like, grab me a case of Coke. And I went back to sleep. And then next thing I know, Lauren's walking through the door. And she goes off. Me and her talk. And then more people are coming in this jury room. More people just keep coming in. And Sharif, oh no, this is the next day. So that night, I'm a smoker, so I'm like, I have to get out of that jury room. I mean, no windows. It was hot. Like, and so me and Lauren went out for a cigarette. She came with me, so I had company. Me and Lauren actually just kind of hung out the rest of the night. Created like literally, that's like my sister. So even though we voted each other out or gunning after each other, like there was no hard feelings. I can call her up right now and we can go on for hours. But after that, Sharif came in. Me and him talked, and we were discussing we all should, me, Storm, Bash, we all should have worked together, get rid of some of the girls. A whole bunch of what ifs, you know what I mean? And then, let's see, who's next? Oh, then Megan came in. That night, the night that Lauren came back, we all went to Walmart, me, Barb, Lauren. Even though Barb couldn't remember that I went to Walmart with her. Yeah, it was me. And I went and found Pete. He was getting something for like some food food that he was making for finale night, so like hash brown casserole or something. And yeah, Barb ended up buying like $123 worth of ice cream and other shit, and we ended up having a big old ice cream party back up in the jury room too. So just like talking. Then everyone else went to bed. Me and Lawrence probably stayed up till like 3 a.m. or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after Sharif got back, my cousin showed up.
Oh, Adam came.
Yeah, Adam came. He showed up to surprise me. He told me in his phone call that he was coming down, but I didn't know when.
Mm-hmm.
So like when he came down, talked to him for a little bit outside the room, and he's telling me how proud he was of me. And he actually like told me like he was like you played the game that I wanted to play. He was like, but I still have a immunity challenge on you that I won. He's like, you did everything but that and win.
How has it been? Because it's been about like a month since the game ended. How have things been for you since Reelfoot?
It was good. It's been going good. Like I like going to being in Boy Scouts. Like I would go to different camps, like camporees and all that, and I wouldn't know a single soul, and we get put into different patrols, and I wouldn't know a soul over there. And like I think one year my buddy in my troop, he went with me, and we actually got put on 2 different patrols, but our campsites were right next to each other, so like we always go over there and talk. It kind of reminded me of that.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you go home, you make connections with these people, and out of scouts, I probably kept up with maybe like 3 people as everyone I talked to. So like, like just going back now, like I'm talking to these people every day. Like, and I love it. Like I love talking to them. We all get along great. And honestly, like probably the hardest thing for me was like the drive back, because like I'm sitting there like thinking and like what ifs. But like once I got home, I kind of like shut it off a little bit. Just kind of want to get back to regular life. I lost 16 pounds, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that the record? I mean, is that the record for the season?
I don't. I think Storm might have lost a little bit more than I did, but yeah, I lose weight quick for some reason. And because I remember one time I weighed like 180, and I played soccer for a summer, went down to 155. So I'm like, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I lose weight like super easy, but I mean I can gain it back real quick. So, yeah, when I got on that scale, like we had a scale up in the jury room, and I was like, "There's no way that's right." And like I get back to the house, I'm stepping on, like that fucking scale was right for me. So yeah, I went down to like 144 pounds.
Wow. Hey, that is what Reelfoot's missing, is like a legit Ponderosa segment where we can see all the weight everyone's lost. The kind of,
see, now my suggestion is when they do check-ins and like get our information, they need to weigh us, and then when we get voted out, or like if you make the final 3, just weigh us again and see what are actual, and then maybe give out a reward for the biggest loser, like. You know what I mean?
But you think it's just a week? Like, how much weight can I lose in a week of not eating and being outside
when you
and
don't
suffering?
eat and you're just doing all those physical activities, and then that sun, and then like the emotional like part of the aspect of it, it just weighs on you. So, I mean,
yeah,
it like your body blocks it out to make it.
Especially like you said, you got that reward and you just couldn't keep the food down. You're just like I'm feeling sick.
Yeah, like I just put it down way too fast, and those jalapenos didn't settle. I mean, I was used to, like, I lived in Texas, and I love like Mexican food and hot, like spicy food and stuff like that. But like that was not sitting well.
So, is there anything else about your season that you want to talk about? Did we miss any major moments?
Yeah.
Right. Share.
So, afterwards, we had a fan favorite poll. So I think Amos updated it like after like 24 hours, a little bit after 24 hours. I had 98 votes, and Drew won it, and beat me by like 1% or something. And he won it, but if you call that a win, I guess. But he had 8 votes he had eight votes on that update. And I'm just like, all right, man. And like I don't know. You never trust anyone that comes into the game wearing a picnic headband. I just want to say that just because if you do, you're going to get voted out first, and you're going to be flopping that bitch out and watching the rest of the challenges. So I'm just saying, and his vote out, his exit interview was longer than any of his confessional. So I do not see how a first boot can get fan favorite. Like there's nothing entertaining about that. I made an idol, like I made a fake idol, had a real idol. Like the fake idol got played. Like I mean, come on. Like what more can you ask for? Like.
I mean, I feel like outside of like, you know, I guess like you said, the bucket list, winning the challenge, winning a mini challenge, and I guess getting to the end, you really did everything you could possibly do this season.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wasn't trying to go out there and make a hidden idol. I just found that damn fucking skull, and I was just like, hey, this is something I can use.
Let's do it.
And I mean, it worked.
You found a real idol. You used it successfully. You made a fake idol. You used it strategically, right? Because it caused a lot of chaos in the other tribe when you handed off the storm, right? You were in the majority alliance that dominated the season. You made a lot of key decisions, especially on that second swap tribe.
Yeah, I mean, I tried my hardest. I think I gave 110% of what I had out there. I have no regrets.
So I'd like to kind of throw some rapid fire questions at you as we wrap up here. So for you, what was your lowest moment in the game?
Voting out James.
That
just hit different for me. Like I hate. That just hit different for me. I did not want to do that to that guy at that point in the game. I actually wanted to take him to merge, but like I had to see where I stood in the game with Angela at that point and just kind of throw his name out there, and she went with it. So also my lowest point, you spend so much time getting your stuff dry at night, like during the night, and like people don't think the grass is wet like in the mornings, but it do.
What was your highest moment?
My highest moment, finding the idol, making the fake idol, and winning that obstacle course challenge with that comeback.
Because my next question would be, what's your favorite challenge? But is that the obstacle course challenge, or is it a different challenge?
That's one of them. But I also really like the second reward challenge that we did with the ropes and the blocks.
What's one of your favorite camp life moments?
Camp life moments, probably the first night, like we all just like sat around, got to know each other, like then like that seven of us like really bonded, and then probably the barb night, just because we could just chill and just get to know everyone that we haven't already got a chance to meet. That was really cool, and get a little know about because me, Angela, and Lauren, we didn't meet Sharif, Barbara, and Josh for the longest time. So just getting to know them like on a more personal level was fun.
What who surprised you the most out there of all the people you met?
It surprised me the most, Barbara. I mean, like I said, she was the oldest player out there. I mean, people probably look at that and just be like, she ain't gonna help us in challenges. But man, that woman has so much will, and she just surprised me. Like you seen her fall during a challenge, she got right back up. She hit her head on that slip and slide challenge. She just kept going, and that's why I was like, all right, this girl got a second gear. And so yeah, she really surprised me the most.
Who do you wish you had a chance to work with but didn't?
Carly.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to work with Carly. Honestly, that was another big thing. I should have picked Carly over Megs on that first pick.
So let me ask you this: let's say you could pick anyone first. It doesn't have to be a female player. You could pick anyone first for your tribe. Who would it be?
Boy or girl?
Boy or girl, doesn't matter.
Oh, Storm.
Still Storm?
Yep. And that's
And
like going into it like not knowing anyone. That's because that's who I stood next to. That's who I looked at, and like it was Storm, and we clicked. We just clicked.
What's one thing you wish you knew before playing Reelfoot?
Oh, let's see. Always have backup clothes in your car in case you forget something. I'm being for real. That was like my best, worst mistake in this game. So I had a hoodie laid out, and that's what I was going to bring as my like jacket or whatever. And I realized I forgot it once I was there. And I was like, I go back in my car, see if I got another hoodie like laying in my trunk or something. Only thing I had was a Carhartt jacket. And I was to Parker. I was like, can I take this? He was like, I mean, it's better than nothing, dude. And I was like, I hate to carry it around. He's like, go ahead, carry it with you. I'm like, all right, take it. Turns out to be the best thing because those nights are cold. And like I remember waking up, I think it was like Tuesday, Monday night, I think, Tuesday night. Lauren just woke me up. She just sitting there shivered, and I'm like, Lauren. She's like, what? And I just took off half of my jacket and I just threw it over. I was like, put your arm in that. And then I was like, and then once you get your arm in it, we're just going to roll over. And so we were like sleeping back to back, but we had a blanket, and me and her did that every night. She made her to sleep next to me every night, so she had a jacket.
So there's a comment from Storm. Maybe you'll understand it. What else you got in those notes, Ryan?
Oh, let's see here. Oh, yeah. KC's final tribal reaction. So, I didn't really care for Casey's approach to Storm on his question and saying that it upset his family. I think he did that to himself. No one trades a fake idol for a fake idol. You could say that he embarrassed you in front of your girlfriend or whatever, your parents. I mean, dude, it's a game. Take those outside of the game. If you really got a problem with it, then talk to them outside of the game. I mean, I don't know. That's just personal opinion. I didn't think it was needed.
Now, let's say Reelfoot has a season where you and Adam are captains on two different tribes. Do you work with your cousin, or do you vote him out when you have a chance?
Oh, man. I wouldn't vote him out, but he would definitely be my plastic bag contestant. So he would know what that means. The least person I want to win.
Do you point out to Adam that, hey, I did better than you? Do you have bragging rights forever now?
Well, see, okay, so he's like, yeah, technically you did finish higher than I did, but there was a lot more people on my season. So, like, if you take the ratio, it was like, technically we finished about the same. I was like, yeah, but, you know. He did go through a tougher season with the elements since he did have all that rain. But, I mean, granted for that, because I probably would have, that would have sucked. But, yeah, our plastic bag contestant thing, I'll give you a little bit of light on that. Like, Adam growing up, he was one of the main people besides my mom that I watched Survivor with. And so, like, at the beginning of the very first show, we would always, like, pick. And by the end of the show, we had to pick a plastic bag contestant. And that person is the least likely person who we thought would win. And if they won, we would have to eat a plastic bag.
Did anyone ever eat a plastic bag?
No, thank God.
Oh my gosh. I was like, that can't be healthy.
No, but yeah, I don't know. We come up with some dumb shit. Like,
and, you know, I guess my last question for you is, would you do another game like this? Would you do it again?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would love to be like on an all-star season or like a Blood versus Water or Heroes versus Villains, or hell, I mean, even if they just brought me back. I think someone even said, I think it was Barbara mentioned at one point, like, yeah, I think you guys need to make a reward challenge where you get an Eagle Scout to come to your camp for like 2 or 3 hours and help you set up camp. And I would totally come back down and do that. Like, I would love to be on production, even if I didn't get to play. Like, a bunch of great group of people down there, and like literally, I told them in my opening interview that Adam was part of their family, and I felt that like genuinely, because like when he did come down with cancer, I believe Parker ended up like putting him in like some kind of raffle survivor CBS does, where they get like signed buffs and actual like memorabilia from the game, and Parker ended up giving that to him, like just kind of like as a get well present. We're thinking about you, and that really meant a lot to him. So yeah, just to be around those guys, yeah, it's a great group of people. I consider them my family. So,
well, Brian, thank you so much for your time tonight, for walking through your game. I love speaking with you. Is there any last thing you want to say before we wrap things up?
Yeah, actually I do. So my girlfriend Courtney pretty much commented on like every video that I was mentioned in, and like that was probably like the biggest supporter like throughout the whole thing. So I just want to say thank you. Okay,
I was wondering who she was, but now I know. I was like, she seems to know Ryan, but I don't know how. But thank you, Courtney, for your support as well.
Yeah, she's a fan. She's a fan for life now, so maybe I could talk her to getting out there.
Well, thank you once again, Ryan. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is yet another one of the deep dive interviews. There are a couple more left. Tomorrow, stop by. I'll be talking to Dina about her tenure in Reelfoot. And she can air all the grievances she's stored up after hearing everyone else talk about her. So I'm very excited for that. And then next week, I'm talking to Megan, and we're getting to them. These are the last ones I have lined up. So we'll have to see if more come out of the woodwork. But Brian,
come on, Julia. Come on, Carly. We need y'all.
Julia, Carly, Casey, and Megs. I think.
Yeah, come on, Casey and Megs. Let's go.
Are going to be the... Because I'll talk to 13 out of 17 people on your on your season, so I know your game very well at this point, I feel. But yeah, Brian, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for listening. Take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.